Hello dear traders. Today I'm going to show you the VR pivot indicator. A couple of years ago I created two scripts, VR pivot and VR pivot Camarillo. These two scripts calculated price pivot control points using classic pivot formula and Camarillo pivot formula. And just recently I've updated this code and created the indicator, which includes more formulas: Camarillo, Fibonacci, the mark, and others. This indicator marks control points on a graph in which there is a high probability of price making a pivot. Let me show you how it looks on a graph. Drag and drop the indicator with your mouse to install it. The settings window pops up. I will go through the settings later. For now, let's just press OK and then horizontal levels appear. The indicator is designed in such a way that it doesn't overload historical graph data and the graph itself with objects. You can analyze history by just dragging this vertical level. When we select some period, like for example the 20th of March, the indicator calculates levels for a next day. Like today is 21st of March, so we put it on a 20th. And the indicator has calculated levels for 21st of March. And this wide line here is a support level at which the price made a pivot. These control levels can be looked at not only as pivot points, but also as points after passing which the price keeps its direction. Take a look here. The price pushed itself up from S2 support level, and in the end it fell through it all the way to S3 level. Let's take a look at more cases of these control points at work. We are using classic pivot formula, by the way. So here is how they work. Here is the average calculated price. Levels are calculated based on 19th of March data. And here we have a support at which the price makes a pivot. Here is a resistance at which the price pivots back. And here, where the price has moved through the average indicator line, it continued to fall to S1 support level. Now calculation based on 18th of March. Control points are calculated for 19th of March. Here we see that price bumped from S1 line and gone up to the average line, pushed through it, and went up to R1 resistance line. You can use this indicator to predict points at which the price is likely to make a pivot. If the price passes some level, then it is even more likely to pivot at the next one. By moving the indicator with your mouse, you can analyze historical data and control points calculated based on it. Now let's get back to settings. To open settings, make a right mouse click on a graph, choose Indicators list, the VR pivot, Properties, and here you can select another formula. Available formulas are the mark pivot, Woody pivot, Camarillo pivot, Fibonacci pivot. I recommend you to research Wikipedia and other resources about these formulas and the best ways to use them. Also, on the very same page you're watching this video, you can find overview for these levels, formulas used to calculate them. All the info is there for you to read and learn. Let's select, say, Fibonacci formula. It uses Fibonacci numbers. Let's move this. That's 20th of March. The calculation is for 21st. And here we can see that all the Fibonacci levels were passed through, including the last one, S3. Well, here is 19th of March. The calculation is for 20th of March. Here is the middle line, where the price bumped up straight to nearest R1 resistance line and almost made it to R2 line. But it didn't and pivoted down. Then, after passing the middle line, the price gone down to S1 support line, then S2 line. And that's for Fibonacci formula. Whatever formula you choose, the indicator will show its name like here it says Fibonacci. It's important to know that the indicator can calculate levels for greater time periods. Right now we're at hourly graph, and in indicator settings we set it to daily period calculation. You cannot look at hour frame graph and calculate levels for minute frame. You simply won't be able to see them. Pay attention to this setting. The calculation level must be greater than the time frame level you use indicator on. So, we are done with formulas. Let's move to next setting. The one that is set to 48. It is the length of horizontal levels in bars. I have it set to 48 because I calculate levels for 2 days ahead. You can set it any other length, for example 24, anything that you find comfortable. The next setting, show price on indicator. It enables display of these prices over here. If you set it to off, these prices will not be displayed, leaving only names like R3, R2, R1, so you can still tell which level you see, if it is resistance or support, and which one it is exactly. The next setting is indicator prefix. It's needed for the purpose of the indicator objects not mixing with other indicators objects. So if you have other indicators installed and they have different prefixes, everything will be nice and stable. For most cases, I recommend you not touch the settings unless you really know what you're doing. Next group of settings concerns color scheme. This double P level is this middle one. These 3 blue ones are resistance levels. And 3 levels colored red by default are support levels. You can use any line colors you like. You can use any line widths you like. I set it the way that higher the level number, the wider the line. You can choose line style like solid, dotted, dashed, etc. Basically, you can make the indicator look any way you like. And that's about it considering the indicator settings. I think this indicator is pretty useful. It does a good job at showing those levels. Of course, it's not 100% accurate at times, but it is still accurate much more often than not. Pivot control points and levels indicator is used by professional traders on stock and currency markets. Well, that's all for today. Thank you for your time. This indicator download link can be found on the page with this video. I wish you the best of luck, and I'll be grateful for likes, questions, and any other kind of feedback.